Hi everyone, Eileen here. It's Sunday. It's a beautiful sunny day down here in North Kent actually, and it's time for me to share with you a Lavinia Stamps video tutorial. And I'm making a card, a Christmas card, using the beautiful Rue today. And she's lovely. In fact, she's wearing a pixie hat, and it reminds me of a Christmas hat. So I've decided to pop in a Christmas stencil behind her. And this stencil is from Sweet Poppy Stencils, but it was designed for them by Tracy Dutton of Lavinia Stamps. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you how I made the insert, which is jolly easy. It's just the stencil and inks. And then I will go on to show you how I made the topper. But the insert is there. This is one I made earlier. Same colours, but in different configuration of ink, so you get different blends. So we're going to do that first before I start mucking around with the gesso, and then do the top. So I have my stencil on a magnetic sheet, and what I've done is that I've got a piece of cardstock which is 14.5 centimetres by 10, which obviously is the size of the card. And I've placed the stencil on, but over a bit towards the left-hand side. And just up a smidgen from the bottom, but I want that snowflake star there to be half on and half off of the card. Like so. And that will allow you enough room for stamping a Christmas greeting and writing a message. So you need some space obviously inside. I'll just roll my sleeves up, and I'm getting some Sweet Poppy stencil tape just to tape off that bottom bit there. The image is so far away from this edge that I'll be fine, I'll get away with that. I've just got some copy paper because the ink will be going off of the card. And starting off with picked raspberry and one of my Lavinia Stamps stencil brushes. Just want to make sure that isn't too dark. And then just very lightly flicking over the image. Take some of the ink off if it's too wet. Taking it up so that the streamers and the ribbon at the top gets a look in with the colour. Just a bit at a time though, don't want it to go on too dark or too heavily. It will overshadow it or you'll get sort of splodgy looks. Now this is peacock feathers, beautiful blue as you know, but strong. So very lightly now with the brush. And I'm not going to go over every one of the baubles. Might put a little tiny bit on the bottom of this one, so it gives it a different look. So I've got blue tones, I've got purple tones as the pink and the blue have gone in together. And now a squeeze lemonade. This should give me a few green tones and a bit of orange. I don't think I'm going to see much of the yellow, to be honest. I think the other colours will overpower it. Now, I know this is quite a wet pad, so I'm not taking too much off. Sorry, it's a dry pad. That's what I meant to say. I'm not taking too much off of this because there's not a lot of ink here. Right. That should do. Let's have a look. Up it comes. Yes, that's nice. So that's my insert, and that is good to go. It's cut to size, and I will just stick that with wet glue straight into my card blank when I've completed the topper as well. So that's that. Nice lot of space there, ready for your greeting or message. And just going to give now this a wipe over to get rid of the inks. And then I've got another piece of card here, exactly the same size. Again, it's white multifarious cardstock from Lavinia Stamps. Oh, I've used this already. Oh well, never mind, I can use this one again. It's got a mark there and that won't come off, so no, can't use that. I'll use this one instead. Right. Multifarious white cardstock, same size, 14.5 centimetres by 10. Only this time coming up a little bit from the bottom, more than the other one, but more central with the image so that you get all of the image on the card. And then down onto the magnetic sheet. Move it over so you're getting a good look. And just taping up this bottom section. And bring on the gesso. Right, this is heavy gesso, heavy white gesso. You can use any gesso you like. I don't think it'll make an awful lot of difference. And I'm removing some of the gesso, popping it on my mat. I'll just check in a moment that you can see this okay. Not too much. Move this over just a smidge. And then I've got a white makeup sponge, cheap makeup sponge, and just putting the gesso all over and spreading it out so that there's no lumps or bumps, and it's really thin. And that's the idea of this, very, very thin, so that when you're ready to put it on, and I'm using the dib-dab-dob method, you know, so just pouncing, don't smoosh, it'll go underneath your stencil. When it goes on, it will go on so thinly that it will dry very fast, and that's what we're after. There we are. That should do it. Paying special attention to the baubles, because that is going to be the area that your eye is going to be drawn to. So just make sure that they're well covered, but with no lumps or bumps or too thick bits. Right, clean that up. You're back in shot. It's not too bad. Right, pop that off. Into water now. Because obviously, as you know, gesso is paint and glue, and that would just go, that would be difficult to get off if you leave it. So pop it into water. I've got a tray here, in it goes. And then I'm just going to give this a quick blast with the heat gun, just to make sure it is dry. Oh, there's another bit of card that I used earlier. Oh well, waste not, want not, hey. There we go. Yes, that's dry. Now, going back to the colours again, I'm not too bothered about the streamers and whatever. I just want to concentrate now on that middle panel, mainly the baubles and behind the baubles, because when I've coloured in the baubles, I'm going to remove the colour from the baubles, which is the idea of the resist. So just make sure that your coloured panel is visible behind the baubles so that you've got some colour you can see. And be careful, lay at a time. So just going down over to this one, because all of the baubles are going to be centre stage. So that's a bit of pink. Next, it's squeeze lemonade. Oops. it would help, I think, if I took that magnetic sheet out. Not being too careful with this, but just don't overdo the colours, that's all. Especially this next one that's coming up. I'm going to do a blue edging all the way around, so this is why I'm not really concentrating on that outside edge. Okay, and as you're looking at your baubles, remember they're going back to white. So if you're looking at the baubles and going, oh, I don't like that, well, don't worry, it won't last long. So, blue now. Well, now this is deadly. I live dangerously with this colour because it's so strong. So, make sure I take a lot of it off. It's a wet pad. And then lightly just bring in some colour into that background. I'm going to get different tones each time. I'm going to get a different look each time, and as they're primary colours, they should blend together quite well. I don't want it to be too dark. All right, a little bit more, I think, of the yellow here. Yeah, that's good. And then finally, again, chance in my arm, but I want to put a bit more pink into this side. And maybe there as well. Right, so you've got a coloured panel. That isn't too overpowering, hopefully. And now I'm going to take that gesso off. So I'm using a cloth, and I'm just going to spray well away from my card some water on the cloth. Okay, so it's very damp but not dripping, and just going to take off this colour. And dab, don't swoosh, because if you swoosh, you'll take colour off from the surrounding area and not just from the gessoed area, and you'll find you'll get water staining where you've taken the inks off and it's got stained all around the edges. Trust me, it's happened to me a few times, so I sort of had to learn my lesson. So it's just dabbing all the time with this. You will take some of the ink off from the surrounding area, but you shouldn't get that water staining that you would see if you were continually swooshing it over. Don't want that. So dip dab dop. Let's have a look. So that's not a lot of blue now, but remember I'm going to go around the outside with blue, so I'm not too bothered. Can see the pink, can see the lemon, so I'm happy with that. Now we're back to the heat gun, drying it. Now stamping. Now I'm using the beautiful roux, and you will find that of course where that gessoed area has resisted the distress inks, it's going to resist any other ink that you use as well. So I'm making sure that I use my, if I can, oh there it is, I'm making sure that I'm using my stamping platform in case I need to stamp the image more than once. All right, so I'm putting this down, put the magnets on, and this is a clean stamp, and so there is a trick that you can use with a bit of acetate, and you line up your stamp with the acetate. It stops any stray ink coming from your image, but this image is really clean. So I'm not bothered about that, but I've got the tip of her wing in the bauble, the bottom bauble. I've moved her over just slightly, just a little bit, so that you get more of a look of the baubled background. And she's off the edge of the cardstock there with the ivy or whatever it is, that foliage that she's holding on to. She's such a lovely stamp. I just like the hat because it looks so Christmassy. Okay. I'm pressing down firmly. These magnets are useless. I must get some more because they're not holding the card down very well. Okay. I broke my original ones. Ha! Don't we all? So I've got these new ones, but they haven't got the strength that the old ones had. Now I'm using VersaFine Nocturne. Hello, Daisy. Go find Kendo. There's a good girl. There's a good girl. Off you go. Bed. Good girl. She wanted a cuddle. Oh, bless her. Hope you feel me now. Couldn't cuddle my dog. Right, VersaFine Clear Nocturne. She'll survive, I'm sure. And inking up. Plenty of ink. This is a juicy pad. You can use VersaFine Onyx Black, Black Archival if you like. Right, so I think she's pretty well inked up. Over she goes. You are going to get a textured look to her body. And because we have gone over a stencil with the gesso, you will find that the stenciled image will come through in the stamp. But it isn't an awful, it doesn't look bad. It looks quite good. It just looks as if she's got a bit of texture. You'll see in a moment what I mean. And if you want to stamp again to get her more opaque, then that's where this stamp press comes in, doesn't it? Use whatever stamp press you have. So, right, let's hope that I've got a nice strong image now. Yeah, I have. I'm going to hold her up to the light, to the camera. Now, the gessoed image of the baubles has given me these marks on her arms, her hat, and on her body here. I'm not too bothered about the hat and the arms or the leg, but I want to fill in some of that to make it a little bit more opaque. You don't have to. I mean, to be absolutely honest, it does look good. You can tell that who she is, and she's a fairy. It's just that you've got a textured look there, and sometimes that's a bonus. Now, I've put my stamp to one side, but because, again, there's gesso underneath her, you may have picked up some stray glue on your stamp. It needs washing straight away, just in case. So I have a black polychromos pencil somewhere. Where have I put that? Here, and I'm just going to fill in. You will feel ridges because you can feel the gessoed raised image underneath her. So you're not going to get a smooth look. It just will be more coloured or more black, basically. But you will still see that it's raised and it is textured. But that was the only bit that I was worried about. I might as well do these here as well, but you know, I'm not too fussed, to be honest. You can see she's a beautiful fairy, and at the end of the day, that's what I'm after. Okay. Next, it is stamping now. So I have a normal stamping mat, foam mat, and I want to put some more colour into the background. Versafine Clair Warm Breeze. Sorry I'm up and down here, but I just want to make sure that you can see everything. And the stamp that I'm using is called Spirit of Christmas, and it's just a text stamp script for the background. And I'm going to ink up, but I'm going to use second generation ink so it isn't too overpowering in the background. So, first generation off, starting at the top, try and make sure it's straight because you will be able to read what the words say. Stamping off the card so it's not the way over. I'm not pressing too heavily, and I'm going over more to the left now, so I've got different widths. Back over to the right, and again, and back over to the left again, so you're seesawing right the way across the card. And as I'm going down, whoops, I am pressing more heavily as I go down till the last one. And so you can hardly see that. I want to put a little bit more down this side. So inking up again. You can fill in the gaps as and when you want. Take it off the ink on that. So let's pop one in there, another bit in there, and then finally very lightly in there. So that gives me a little bit more of the text. A bit more in there maybe. Yeah. So you get the idea. Keeping with Warm Breeze, and then going back to a stencil brush, the Lavinia stencil brush. First of all, I want to put in some more words, and this is With Love. And this is from a set called Heartfelt Verses. And you get 4 or 5 of these. Oh, nearly put black on the brush then. See, not concentrating on what I was doing, but I got away with it because I remembered just in time. Okay, With Love. It's a very delicate stamp, lovely font. And where shall I put this? I think I'm going to put this down here. Try and get it straight, Eileen. Right, gently down and up. Yes, that looks good. Right, back to the stencil brush and the right colour ink. Taking a lot of it off and then onto the card from off the copy paper. And just bringing the colour in just to give it a little bit more than you had originally. Sometimes when you take the gesso off and it removes so much colour, the middle of the card can look a bit washed out. But this blue then brings the colour back in. These stencil brushes have got a domed head and they're very soft. And that softness is brilliant for blending. So it gives me a very smooth look. Okay, so I think I'm more or less finished with that. Just having a look at the main event. Or oh no, I forgot my gems. Right, Oh, this is a good bit because they're going to do a bit of tarting up with some with some bling. So clearing the decks. Fingers, not too bad. Okay. Right. So I wanted some gems, but I didn't want them to be coloured, so didn't have any. So went onto Amazon and put in crystal gems, and I got this came up, and they're all domed, all different sizes, and I thought that's ideal. So I'm taking out just one for the front because it's already a bit busy, and just going to pop on tiny amount of this glaze stuff. I'm using this instead of the normal glue because this was handy. Come on. That's it. And my tweezers, which are hiding from me. Now I had those here. There they are. So picking up the gem and just plonking that in the middle like so. So that is that gem. I'll come back to these in a moment. Then the next part is just to highlight, and take your time doing this, the baubles in the background and some of the streamers at the top with, I've used a silver sparkle pen. Now I'm rushing this a bit. I didn't rush the first one. So take your time with this. And it just brings those baubles up a bit so that you get a glittery look through behind Rin. Not Rin, Rue, that's it. Oh, keep calling her Rin and she isn't. That's because I've got a friend called Rin. But she's Rue and she's beautiful. So I'm doing as much of the bauble as I can so that it shines through. But where she is, you know, over the top, I'm not being overly fussy and going in behind her. Bit of the streamers, not all of them, just gliding here and there, just picking out some of it. So you've got a bit of a sparkle in the background. Right, let me see if you can see that on the camera. I think that's highlighted them a bit, isn't it? Yeah, that's not bad. So, oh yeah, look, see? Bit glittery there. You need to be a bit neater than I've been, though. That's not good. Right. Now, so then I've taken a card blank and I've used it tenfold, and obviously it's 14.5 by 10. I will stick that one to the top of it, and then my other one, the insert, to the inside of it. And on the insert, I will then also put just a dab of glue on each one. Ooh, that's too much. And 4, I want 4 really. That's far too much, but I'll, if I can take some of it off. Not really. Okay. I shall just stick the gem over the top and pray it doesn't squidge out of the sides. Right, let's see. I want some smaller ones on this one. So there's one. That one can go in there. That will dry clear, so that will be fine. And then I've got some even smaller ones in here. And that one will go there. And then another larger one will go there. I mean, obviously you can use any colours you like, or none at all if you don't want to do this, but it just sort of makes it look more festive, doesn't it? And that's soon going to be upon us. And another one there. Got a bit of an eyelash there, or a mark. Anyway, that'll do. So then I will stick that down. And then I'm done. I have fun doing that. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I'm going to go back next week. I'm going to see you again next weekend, with another 2 Lavinia Stamps video tutorials from me to you. But for now, have a super week and thanks for looking today. And take care. Bye for now. Oh, that's no good. That's not how I usually finish. I usually show you the completed thing, don't I? All right. Daisy came back. She wants another cuddle, but she didn't get in the first place. Okay. I'm coming, Daisy. Right. I've got a couple of inserts there. Why not show them both? Yes, indeed. So, a couple of inserts. 1, 2, and the card. That's the one that I did earlier on. Well, yesterday, in fact. And this is the one that I've just done now. Look at that. Okay. All right. See you soon. Bye for now.